Amazon takes already
Oh
cut
yeah,
off the
that's
top. So,
fair.
I mean,
Oops.
but this does make it look like we have subscribers. Right.
Woo! Yeah.
Anyways, yeah. Welcome back, folks.
Welcome back to Vulgar Science, guys. Thank you for being here, as always.
Yes, yes. Maybe we should introduce ourselves at the beginning. If we're going to be putting this shit on YouTube, we're just launching in like people are going to know who
That's
we
super
are.
fair.
So,
Yeah. Okay. As always, I'm Layla Shode.
as always, sometimes I'm Neuralicia.
Only
Other
sometimes.
times, no, all the time I'm Neuralicia. Um, and we're both scientists of the PhD persuasion and have various kind of specialties, as always. I love that. Yeah, so funny.
Cliff Alistair McLean is a pizza, and that is admirable.
Well, as I said earlier,
Aspirational.
if you are what you eat, then canonically, I'm cheese. It's just what I am.
Specifically, what's the brand they sell at Costco that you love so much? It's like black, not Black
Oh,
Diamond. It's
no, I
Balder
don't remember. It's a Irish cheddar, like an Irish aged cheddar. I can't remember what it is.
Balderson? Balderson, I think.
Oh, I know what you're talking about. Yes.
Like
Balderson's is a Welsh cheese, I believe.
oh.
Anyways, so yeah, I could go for some pizza. Stares at Cliff. What kind of pizza? You guys are good. Stop it. We have 2 hours to go, and I haven't eaten
I'm already
anything.
hungry now. I want pizza.
Yeah. Thanks.
Literally.
Thanks, guys. Great.
Appreciate
Great.
you.
Yeah. Perfect. Yeah. Anyways, you kind of are what you eat a little bit.
I
When
mean,
like the more you look into this gut microbiome stuff,
it's pretty crazy.
yeah, yeah. I guess we should probably start with like explaining what we mean by gut brain axis,
Mm-hmm.
what we mean by gut microbiome. I don't know what kind of stuff you got into in your research, which of those, if either, is more important, but I feel like we'll probably talk about both those things. So,
Yeah. So, I mean, this is something, I think that there's like two sides to this. And I'm always, I feel like I've been really on. I mean, this is kind of why we started Vulgar Science, is because we want to talk about information and knowledge and science, but we also want to disregard misinformation, right? And so when we get into
absolutely.
gut health and how that can
Yeah,
affect your overall health, there is sometimes misinformation, which we will obviously address in the stream.
yeah,
But I think what Alicia
absolutely.
and I are super interested in and super excited about is that gut microbiome has really come up recently in scientific research as affecting other parts of the body that you would not have expected to affect it initially. It's been
Yeah.
associated with chronic pain, it's been associated with cognitive health. And if we don't necessarily know if these are, I don't think the science is far enough along if we know that these are necessarily causal or correlational, but we can get further into it as
Yeah,
well.
I think that's a really good point. And I mean, starting out by saying what is not conclusively true is probably a good kind of jumping off point. Has
Yeah.
anybody in chat heard of any kind of like gut microbiome or like gut bacteria? It doesn't have to be all the sciencey words and that sort
Mm-hmm.
of thing, but what do you guys know about how your gut and what you eat and stuff like that influences you? I have a gut and I tend not to trust it. Fair.
Super fair.
I know there's pizza in my gut. I know that there's not. That's a lie. He's lying to you. It's
It's
supposed to be to
supposed to
eat
be.
people's.
Everybody's
Wait, so
really on the
we're
pizza.
taking things really serious here in chat, which is great.
Love
I
it.
love
Thanks,
it.
guys.
I mean, frankly, that's on point for our usual kind of
Mm-hmm.
MO.
Mm-hmm.
I like it. I mean, I remember the first time that I heard about this area of science because, of course, I heard about it while I was training to be a scientist. I think I was in my master's when I heard anything meaningful about it. And I just remember the biggest thing that I heard that kind of made me never forget it. And I
Mm-hmm.
think it still holds up and hasn't
Mm-hmm.
been debunked. There's more serotonin receptors in your gut by like tenfold than there
Yes.
are in your tenfold might not be the number, but it's like a large order of magnitude more serotonin receptors. The vast majority of the serotonin receptors that you have in your human body are found in your gut. And I was like, say what? Because, of all the neurotransmitters that people are familiar with, it goes serotonin, dopamine, And that's usually the end of the list outside of a scientific
That's
context,
fair,
right?
yeah.
Unless you're listening to like Huberman on the
I
daily,
mean,
or doing your
people will
citizen
say
research kind of thing.
adrenaline, but that's not technically right. Like that's
Right, yeah, this
different. Yeah,
hormone,
yeah, yeah, yeah,
but
yeah.
people call dopamine a hormone all the time. It makes me want to crawl up a wall. But
I mean, ooh, sorry, I keep slapping the mic. I be doing that.
wow,
So, well,
yeah, the song's good.
hormones and neurotransmitters are essentially the same thing, right? As neurotransmitters are just either in your nervous system or your brain, and hormones are in the rest of your body. So,
Yeah, yeah. I mean, I think that that's like a fair kind of like first pass level of way of distinguishing them for sure. That being said, knowing that serotonin is a neurotransmitter and it's found outside of the brain, we can already conclusively say that that's not like a cut and dry perfect dissociation, but it
mm-hmm.
is a useful kind of way to approach it for the purposes of just kind of broad understanding, I think. My totally just is Layla's volume better? I turned her up.
Hello. I should probably talk to test that, obviously. Hello. Speak, please. Hi, I'm testing
We
my
can't.
mic. Is it working? Good. Okay.
Okay. Yeah. So that was the first thing I heard. What about you? Do you remember like kind of your first foray into gut brain axis kind of folly?
Um, I think what really struck, and I don't know if I talked about this on stream last week. I might have, or I've
Mm,
gotten really excited about it, so I've just talked about it with a lot of people. But there was a study that I actually discovered right at the end of my PhD that had been going on in a lab adjacent to ours. In that, and I'll pull it up actually because it's like pretty sick.
I saw
Uh,
that Arcady's paper was
yeah,
in your thing, and I was like, oh, we going back home.
yeah, I know. I do.
I mean,
Uh,
it's nice to boost researchers that you are familiar with
yeah,
and know, and like boost your network and stuff like that. So
I can
he
find.
is Arcady Russian? I believe he is.
He is Polish?
That makes more sense given his name.
Yeah,
His
because it's
last
SKY. Sorry, they're Eastern European. I forget which area of Eastern Europe.
for sure Eastern European.
Because
I
there's
thought he was Russian for some
SKY
reason.
versus SKI. I never remember which is one is Russian and then the other is like other regional.
Yeah, well, and those guys cross over. They cross streams quite a bit
Yeah,
over
yeah,
in that neck of
yeah.
the woods. Because things used to be other things.
Tech support. Can we turn the AC unit off? Can can tech support hear me? Yeah, thank you. Sorry.
Don't cross the streams.
Don't
I
cross.
mean, we're crossing our streams right now. Hey.
Hey.
Yeah. So okay.
Na-na-na-na-na. Sorry, so I pulled up. Sorry, I should pull up the actual paper itself.
Yeah,
But
yeah.
I think
Pull it
this
up. Pull it.
paper is really, really interesting because they. Hi, hello, please work. So, what they did in this paper is it's primarily a mouse model, but human with human elements, and then they're actually starting the human replication because I just actually saw the senior author of this paper at a
Mhm.
conference in April, and they're
Who is
starting
that?
the Arcady. Is he the senior? No, is he not?
Oh, sorry. You said senior. I heard first.
Oh, okay.
It's not
Um,
the same.
yeah, not the same thing. Um, but essentially, what they did is they took in. So, fibromyalgia is a pain disorder that has essentially like no really well-known cause. It's associated sometimes with like
Mm-hmm.
small fiber, so small nerve fiber, those that are like in your hands and feet and stuff. Um, Neuropathy, which is like dysregulated nerves. It's also associated it has like a lot of other things. It has a lot of like sympathetic nervous disorders. There's a lot of elements that come into play. Essentially, it's defined by pain all over the body, and it takes a long time to get a diagnosis because they have to go through all these other disorders first, essentially.
Yeah, I think we said last time that it was a differential diagnosis,
Yes.
which means if it's not anything else, it's this.
Yes. But what they did is they took fecal samples from human women with fibromyalgia and then implanted them or either turned them into pellets that they fed to mice or they like did actual fecal implants
Mm-hmm.
and essentially were able to recreate this full body widespread pain in mice.
That's crazy.
And
How did
so
they measure it?
that's a great question. I think it's let me look at the figures really quick.
Sorry, I didn't mean to like quiz
No,
you on
you're
it.
good.
I'm more like curious.
Yeah, they did some I guess genome sequencing as well with
When you transferred fecal matter from human beings to mammals, the police told you were a menace to society. I mean, broad strokes, don't do it. Just don't
oh, to
keep shit
get
to
a grip
yourself.
just asked what the difference between a senior and a first author was. Sorry. Do you want to explain that,
Okay.
Alicia?
Yeah, well, Layla's looking for the
Mm-hmm.
methods there. So the senior author is usually the person whose lab actually did most of the work. So it's kind of like the place and the person that's like the leader of the lab. And usually the first author is a postdoc or a graduate student, typically, that did a lot of the actual hands-on work and conceptualization. In a lot of cases, these sorts of things are from people's projects for their PhDs or masters or parts of their PhDs and stuff. Lots of times they comprise a chapter of people's dissertations and stuff. But basically the vessel and space and infrastructure for the research is the senior author, and they of course have top down kind of control over, vetoing you saying something unhinged in the paper and full edit
Mm-hmm.
control. And they're usually the people that if you have questions, you reach out and contact them, because the other people in the big list of authors between the first author and the last author is the senior one, those people might have only done one part of it. Like I've been on a paper because I did like a little bit of testing on,
Yeah.
XYZ,
You
and
help.
I don't really have any big part to play outside of the fact that the paper couldn't have happened without me mechanistically doing something, right?
Yeah, like if you were like an undergraduate who was heavily involved in data collection, or you were somebody who helped like edit the paper at some point, often
Yeah.
you'll be on it, but you're not like that's not your bread and butter. Like you don't know all of the necessarily know all of the ins and outs of the paper. So they did essentially oh, I'm not sharing this with you. I need to share this with you. That's why you're having um here, so I have up they essentially did a battery in animal model battery. So this includes like mechanical testing, so they're like poking them. They did
Mm-hmm.
like cold pain testing, and then they also did mouse grimace scale, which is what our former supervisor is known for, essentially. In that,
Oh, I
you,
didn't even know that they did that. I should get up on this paper.
that so essentially you like are mice have like painful expressions. I know it doesn't seem like they would, but if their ears are like lower and their like face is more scrunched up, they're in pain. As with humans, we have similar sort of grimace expressions. So they also are you're able to essentially assess that, and you're if you compare to a mouse that's probably not in pain, then you get the separation of differences. So I think this was one of the things that really like turned me on to that field of research, and I
Mm-hmm.
kind of disregarded it initially until I saw how good these results were. I was like, okay, maybe they're
Did
like
they
on.
only do grimace scale, or did they do any sort of like mechano
They did
testing?
von Fry, so that's the mechanical one. Cold, grimace scale.
Oh shit, they did the whole. That's
Yeah, and then yeah,
cool.
so a
That's
couple other
interesting.
withdrawal late, so heat, and then
Mm-hmm.
PAM, which I don't know, but it's also apparently
I don't know
mechanical.
either. Okay.
Yeah.
Sweet. Yeah, that's cool. I mean, that I like it when pain shows, like pain is kind of the ultimate one that like if it shows up, if there's something that's going to have an effect of something, it's usually going to show up in pain, which shows just A, how complex pain is,
Yeah.
and B, how interconnected it all
Hmm. I
is.
mean, the paper got published in Neuron, so it's like pretty
Right.
impactful. Like I think it, and I like again, this is a growing field of research. Is that like being able to
Yeah.
manipulate what is in the gut to affect other things, which you don't think would technically be linked to the gut. And so I don't know
Right.
if you found any other papers which were similar, Alicia.
I mean, yes, I tried to find some of the more kind of recent up and coming stuff, particularly as it pertained to like diet kind of thing, that a human
Yes,
being
yeah,
could, like
could
ways
manipulate.
that
Yeah.
we could potentially be altering our microbiome and subsequent gut brain
Mm-hmm.
axis signaling without knowing it, or ways that we can willfully engage in that. But before we get too far into it, we
Yeah.
should define what we're talking about here.
Yeah.
So I think starting with the gut microbiome, and that's essentially just the community of microorganisms that live in your gut. This includes bacteria, which is most of the research is on bacteria. It's starting to change a little bit now, but it's all those kind of like microbes and stuff like that. It also includes things like fungi,
Do you have
archaea.
can you share with me what you're looking at right now?
I'm looking at our notes, my
Oh,
notes.
just your notes. Okay, I thought you had
Yeah,
like a
just
visual.
me old notes.
Okay.
Um, no, I do have an image that I might share later if I can figure out how to do that in this window without like you know doxing myself. But there's also something called the virome, which is the viral component of that ecosystem. But
Hmm.
suffice it to say, it's all of these microorganisms, or because viruses aren't really like living
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
organisms per se. It's but without getting too mince the minutia of it, it's all of the little things that are happening in your gut. That's the microbiome. And then the gut brain axis is just how the microbiome of your gut interacts with the rest of your body, in particular your brain. So there's kind of a pathway that happens that basically goes gut. Typically, vagus nerve is the main kind of highway, if you will,
Yes, yeah.
between the two. And then up to your brain, blood brain barrier, and that sort of thing, depending on what signaling you're talking about. But they call it an axis because it operates bidirectionally. So
Oh, interesting. Is that where axis comes from? Is it if it has multiple? I
I
just thought it
believe
was
so.
like okay. I did not know that.
Yeah, I think axis is just like, well, you think about what an axis is, like
Hmm.
for graphs, it's where two kind of things intersect, I guess. So maybe it
Okay.
doesn't mean bidirectional, but that's how I've always thought about it, is like the HPA axis,
Yes.
which
So
is
yeah, I always just thought it was like multiple points intersecting. Okay, that makes sense. Yeah.
I think it kind of has to be not cyclical, but it has to be like not, because otherwise you would just call it efferent or afferent, right?
Yeah, that's
Towards or
true.
away,
Yeah, yeah,
right?
yeah.
If it's an axis, I think it's the kind of multimodal and multi-directional. I think that that's kind
Okay,
of important.
makes sense.
But here I thought it was a coalition of European fascist countries. Well, I mean, if you're playing Risk, perhaps,
We were in
or
World War
living in
II.
life, who knows? Axis and allies, who played that? Yeah, so yeah, that's I think pretty pretty good understanding of that. But as far as like cool research, yeah, I mean the kind of meat and potatoes of it is
Hmm.
that there is some evidence to suggest that probiotics and prebiotics can have an actual impact on things like ADHD, depression, anxiety,
Yep.
blah 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 blah, like all of those things. And the difference between just eat better and you'll feel better versus this thing actually mechanistically has a causal chain that we can
Hmm.
observe, I think we're somewhere in the middle of that personally, based on what I was looking at. There's very little actual, like, this is exactly how this particular interaction with like a neuropsychiatric condition works,
Yeah.
with the exception of some of the autism research, but that doesn't have to do with your diet. That has to do with your mom's diet when you were neonate
Oh, that's super
or
interesting.
in utero. Yeah.
Your like natal environment. Interesting.
So yeah, getting exposed to the wrong bacteria or not the right bacteria can is related to, not necessarily causal,
Huh.
but is related to incidence and severity of autism spectrum disorder, which is crazy to me because the people that are like vaccines cause autism are actually saying more or less the opposite of what this finding would suggest, right? They're saying that protecting yourself against certain viruses and presumably other,
Oh yeah, true.
you know what I mean?
Yes,
They're
literally.
the ones drinking raw milk, not pasteurizing shit. So they're
Yeah.
drinking this bacteria that could, I don't know that the bacteria that are in
Mm-mm.
pasteurized milk are the candidate ones that are doing
Yeah, I
this.
know.
So
I
grain of
don't
salt.
know enough about like the specific bacteria in microbiomes, right? Like I can like be like, "Oh, the gut microbiome," but I'm like, "What which bacteria are we talking about?" You know what I mean?
I
I don't know.
think the two main ones that are in prebiotics are the ones with the most research, which is why, did I say prebiotics? Probiotics.
Yeah.
Probiotics.
Mhm.
Like lactobacillus and
Okay.
acidophilus, I believe, are the two main probiotic um, things that you can take that might have an effect. But it's not as clean as take this and don't have whatever endpoint.
Yeah, I kind of agree with you that like I don't think their research. I think we've seen, and I'm like look at like the study that I'm currently sharing is we've seen causal links, but in mouse models, right? And mouse models are not like this is kind of the issue that we're seeing with like science communication at the moment is that
Mm-hmm.
people who are trying to like hype stuff up and then like sell things to you are basing their stuff on mouse models. So anything we talk about like, you know, what Huberman out there being like, "Oh, peptides." That's, it's only been like it's only positively like having positive effects
Right.
in animal models. Another example
Right.
that I'm going to bring up, which is very relevant, which I maybe have briefly mentioned on the stream already,
Mm-hmm.
is this researcher who I'm going to share again with you, Alicia.
Yeah, Sir Lacto of Bacillus. I like that. I
So,
like that take. That's what I'm gonna name my next D&D character. Sir Lacto of Bacillus. Anyway, sorry
where
to
is
interrupt.
Who said that? Sir
Oh,
Lacto?
just he said that Acidophilus and Lactobacillus sound like fantasy creatures, and I was like
Dead.
vamped with that on Sir Lacto of Bacillus.
Sir Lacto. I'm dead. That would be. They love to drink raw milk. Um. So okay, what is Dan laughing at?
I presume us.
Apparently so. Anyway, so this researcher, um, has actually so like this is somebody that was recommended to me by like a health professional to look at their work essentially, and the way that
Right.
it was presented is that this is a Harvard trained psychiatrist who has a focus on
Okay.
nutrition, who's employed by the Harvard like nutritional
Okay.
branch of their like Mass General whatever, so like Massachusetts General Hospital. And the way it was presented is that they're treating psychiatric conditions with food. And
Okay. Good. I
yeah,
buy it.
so okay, so there's I love this because well, I could play. I'm like I also want to play devil's advocate with this a little bit, and that like there is evidence that, and like we're talking about it right now, right? Changing your gut microbiome, changing the food that you consume, and the what that makeup of that food you consume is can have a positive effect. Like diet is like super underrated in the health space, but when your doctor says change your diet, right? It's like we all know we need
Like
to
what
get
do you mean? Yeah.
yeah, we all know that we should have a better diet. Sure, we can eat salads all day, but like, are we ever gonna like love our lives? No, probably not. And but the
Right.
thing is that it was presented as this like, oh, like change your diet and fix like schizophrenia, like, which is
Oh,
like, yeah. So that's just
don't know
not
about
true.
that.
And so I wanted to show her Instagram
Who
because
is this person?
so it's her name is Dr. Uma Naidu, and there is,
Okay.
I mean, like it's based in some evidence, right? Sorry, I'm also gonna show.
So remember last time I was talking about the guy Matt Hill that was on Huberman because he
Yes,
put him on blast
yeah,
about the cannabinoid stuff. His wife is also a trained scientist and runs something called neurotrition that basically looks at similar things with less grandiose claims. I don't know if she still runs it. She used
yeah,
to like run her own business, but basically would talk about like ways to support your mental health with your diet. Like, hey,
yes,
omega 3s are tied to, XYZ,
yes. So
more positive outcomes.
for yes, exactly. So foods rich in omega-3 fatty acids, folate, fiber, antioxidants, and vitamin D can play an important role in supporting the gut-brain connection and stabilizing mood. Right. So yes, you can make small incremental changes and can affect your mood slightly better, right? If you eat
Mm-hmm.
an avocado a day or whatever it is. But
Right.
you just go through and you realize that this is like things are being sold to you and it's being oversold to you. Polyphenols for brain health.
Yeah, see, I think that's where the grifter thing gets me, because even if this is based on real science, which I'm sure it is, you don't get
Yeah.
Harvardized without being at all, scientific.
Hmm.
But it's when you extrapolate so far beyond what you're actually fucking seeing. Like, omega 3s are not going to cure schizophrenia,
Yes.
or they would have already cured schizophrenia. Do you know what I mean? Just like the
Exactly.
same way that the monoamine hypothesis of depression simply can't be the answer, or all of our antidepressants that work on monoamines would have solved it and we wouldn't still have depression. So that simply can't be the answer, because
Exactly.
we've
Yeah, if we all just could we just fix our diet, and also like all of these things, like a better diet is linked to like socioeconomic status, and like socioeconomic status is always it's related to higher.
put it in the books, folks. We agree.
It's always socioeconomic status. It's always a class war on here. I'll be for real.
I mean, tea.
Yes.
Also, like,
So lower. Yeah. So like.
economics and inflation. Like, I can't afford broccoli. Are you fucking kidding me? A gallon of milk? I don't even know
Yes.
if milk is one of the ones we're supposed to be doing. But
I don't know either. But it's like, okay, so feeling anxious or mentally off lately, it might not just be stress. Choline is often overlooked nutrient, and it's like choline, like choline is like a neurotransmitter, and it's anyway. So whatever, it doesn't.
I
Like, you're not gonna cure anxiety by like eating eggs, like you know what I mean.
right.
So this is what it goes too far. And oh, error loading page, girl, what?
It totally does go too far. You're right. And like it's the same sort of thing where like the Hubermans and the
Mm-hmm.
whoever the fuck else are peddling their AG1 neurotrition bullshit.
Yes.
And it's like, okay, sure, you can take your 5-HT supplement, but simply some of these molecules do not cross the blood brain barrier. So I
What
mean,
are
in
you
this
Yes.
case, those things are probably actually going to your gut and might actually have a thing.
Yes.
But people act like they're taking these nootropics or brain drugs, lion's mane, mushrooms, all that
Yes.
kind of shit. Like it's gonna just go in there, like you go, oh, in mouth, now in brain. No, simply no.
Yes. Well, and so this is the thing is this woman is trying to sell cookbooks. So it's just there so there's like a there's an overhype, and hilariously, I don't know why it's not loading in the format, but this is published by McGill University and it calls out this woman and her book in specific. This Is Your Brain on Food was her first book. She came out with another
Right,
one
yeah.
of like the mood food connection or something like that.
Yeah,
But
sure.
most of the and that's the thing, her credentials like stand out, right? Like this is a Harvard trained and Harvard employed psychiatrist, which is why the health professional that recommended it to me, I was like, you know what, like they do think that they're doing their due diligence, right? Because this is somebody who is like in the space.
Mhm.
However, most of the data that is in these cookbooks are based on is animal models. And it says
Yeah.
it in this article. Sorry, I know I'm just like showing you guys an article, a raw article, but like literally it like points out I if I can find it in here. Hippocratic ventriloquy that geeks me. But essentially we're mouse models, rodent models do not always apply to humans. Yes, sometimes.
Certainly not.
And this is specifically something that our former supervisor was really interested in is how can we get this preclinical animal
Yeah.
model to how do we create a human translation of that technique or that whatever, and then
Yeah.
essentially like okay, and then now we can go into clinical trials and create the research base that we need. But animal
Right.
models are not part of the foundation of our knowledge base for humans. Like we just can't. And so if somebody is
Yeah.
like trying to tell you that something, oh yeah, we saw this effect in mice, and it's like that means nothing really at the end of the day.
Well, Layla, I'm a rodent scientist, so back
Okay,
that fucking truck up a
okay, well, okay.
tiny bit,
Sorry. Okay,
ma'am.
I will back the truck. I will. Sorry. It means nothing until it's also been tested in humans, and it means
Right.
nothing in like in a clinical sense, like
Right. Until you prove it or
in
conclusively
yes.
show that that's the best answer in absence of other better
And it has
answers,
to be
right?
in multiple humans, right? It can't just be in one.
Right.
It has to be in what like multiple clinical trials, a meta-analysis. Then we have science.
Well, and a responsible rodent or preclinical researcher, even in chimpanzees or
Yes.
primate models, our due diligence is to say anxiety like behavior or behavioral despair, not like we
Mm-hmm.
solved mouse depression. Like, no, we didn't, because I've said this a zillion times and I will say it again. The flavor of anxiety that a mouse has is not the flavor of anxiety that I have. You know,
Yeah.
berry tiger. I'm not worried about tigers. I could get berries if I want to. You know, like
Yeah.
we're fine. I don't have those sorts of anxieties. I have anxieties about not being good enough for existence and stuff like that. And I'm pretty sure that a mouse ain't worried about that. Or if it is, there's no way for us to know that currently, right?
Uh,
So when I report my findings, I have to say, hey, insofar as this is the same as the thing that
yes.
we hope it's the same
Yes.
as.
Like humans pace when they're anxious, and this mouse is doing a behavior that is similar to that in
Right.
open
Yeah.
field tests or whatever. Yes, exactly.
Sure. Yeah.
Uh,
Absolutely.
Welcome in
Hello,
Ruffle
Rafa
Iron
and Chef.
Chef and anxiety being more bird-like. I enjoy that greatly. That image.
I mean, birds calm me down, but I do see the energy of the like kind of, you know.
Do it one more time for the camera.
I don't even.
A little bok for the.
Chuckle gallery over
I know
here.
he is. I'm really cracking him up today.
My anxiety is more cat-like. I have to clip that. Go ahead and clip that. Go ahead. Go ahead, y'all. I'm fine with that. Yeah, I think the translational gap is always going to be an issue. That's one of the biggest issues in
Yeah.
research is the shit that you want to do to humans to prove the thing that you think is true, you can't do because you can't be like,
Yes.
your baby gets shit nutrition, your baby gets good nutrition. Otherwise, they're going to do the exact same thing every single day of their lives. So that's the only way you could conclusively show this sort of thing in a human being. Even randomized clinical trials are fraught with a bunch of things where it's like, what if this? What if that? But does that mean we shouldn't do these types of research? Of course not, right? But you still have to kind of entertain that you need to not only be able to up translate something from a mouse to a rat to a cat, whatever, up to a human being, if that's what you're trying to do,
Mm-hmm.
and then ideally back from the human being to the rat. So if we found out that, oh, this works in human beings, okay, model it in a rat, see if it works in a rat, and then see if we can change
Yes.
it with the mechanism that we think is underlying this intervention or the pharmacology. And if both of those directions work, we probably have a true phenomenon. But that's a high fucking bar.
Yeah.
Doesn't mean we shouldn't strive for it. That's what we should do. But this lady, she just said, eat your vegetables. I don't know what she said. I've never read a word of her work.
Well, I mean, the deeper you get into this, she says fix your whole life with your diet, and that's just not it. Like if you have mental health issues, it's your diet, and it's like that's just not tea.
Electrocute those babies, do the science, get a grip.
Chill, chill,
Go
chill,
to
chill,
the
chill, chill,
naughty
chill, chill,
step.
chill, chill, chill.
I don't even.
You know
I'm
what?
not even a kids person, but you can't say that
You
shit.
know what we can do is we can create a rodent human hybrid that are
Yeah.
considered lesser, not real humans, so they get less rights in society, and then we just do all of our
Are
experiments on them.
are you describing eugenics?
I don't know, maybe. I okay,
We
so
shouldn't do that either.
you really shouldn't. No, do not do that. So I,
So much
so
worse.
it is so much
Do it
worse.
to the robots. That's what AI should be used for. Like approximate a
Oh,
human being for me. You know what I mean? I
yeah.
don't know how that
Well,
would be done.
so I mean, I just took this bioethics class because I had to for my
Mhm.
postdoc, and
Okay.
one of those was actually, it was like, that was essentially one of the things. It was like they were like, oh, we're gonna like transfer human brain samples or like DNA sample. We're gonna breed mice with human DNA samples, and then we're gonna like do these experiments
What?
on them, something, something, something. And it was like, how? And essentially it was like the point of the research was like very, it did not really make sense, honestly. And so we essentially deigned it that we were like, okay, one, there's like no, this is like unnecessary methods for like the goal of the study. But then two, like, what are the ethical implications of like like a part human, an animal, like a rodent with like human DNA? Like,
Human
what?
level. Yeah, we're Pinky and the Brain. They weren't
Yes,
having a
right.
good time all the
Was
time.
like, what are the cognitive implications? Are we just like torturing like a human inside a rat's body? Like,
Well, okay, even if you weren't, it's still a mouse. Just
yeah,
by virtue, if you put my brain in a mouse body, I would immediately have very different concerns in my life, right? Like,
yeah.
first of all, I can get stepped on and squished immediately. And a chihuahua could take me down and kill me immediately. That is not a concern that I
And they
currently have.
will. They will
And
threaten.
they will. And they will. You know, like catching some sort of like zootropic disease. Rabies might be a concern. Did I say rabies? I don't know.
Yeah.
Whatever. Cats are a much bigger concern if I'm a mouse. You know. So even without all the ethical implications, what does that buy you that you don't already have by just being like mouse? Other than maybe mouse could talk to you. That's the only benefit I could see of that we don't already have.
Yeah. It's like,
Full Metal
are you
Alchemist
feeling
was that
anxious?
anime?
I'm kind of geeking that Get a Grip just said a chihuahua could take me down because that reminds me. Did you see the poll or study that like the same amount of like women, Democratic women, believed that they could like take on Donald Trump in like a fist fight, and like win, to the same amount of Republican men that thought that they would lose in a fight to Donald Trump, like a
See,
physical fight.
okay, so like the proportion of women that are Democrats
Yes,
that were like, I could take him, was the same number of
that
the
thought they would
male
lose.
Republicans that said, nah, couldn't take him.
It was like 70% or something like that for both. I might
You
have.
could go like and probably give him a liver spot on his wrist.
I
Like,
know,
frankly,
right? I know, but apparently that's not like fully understood of it. That's like so shocking to me, honestly. I'm like, has anyone? This man's health is like actively declining in front of our eyes, and they're
well, also, if he was indestructible, why he got the Secret Service and the bulletproof glass and all that shit?
sorry. Get a grip. Corrected me. 70% of Democratic women thought they could win, and 40% of Republican men thought that they would lose, which is shocking. Still,
I mean, I'd really like it if a stiff wind would take him like fucking Dorothy out of
yeah.
Kansas and land him on a fucking moon.
I
Actually, you know
really,
what? The moon doesn't deserve that.
I just want his. I wish this presidency had gone the way of William Henry Harrison, where William Henry Harrison, sad story. He had extremely long inauguration speech, and so that it was like multiple hours out in the cold. He caught a cold, he got pneumonia, and died for his first month into office. I was like, if only, if
That would feel
only.
nice. You know? Yeah. Yeah.
Oh, 40% of men thought they would win. Okay, so like, yeah, 60% of Republican men thought they would. That's insane.
I mean, I don't know what that says. I don't know how to decode the meaning of that. 70% of Democratic women.
Are okay with elder abuse.
You heard it here first, folks.
Yeah, you heard it here first.
The Democrats, they want you to do that. They also want to give your children autism with vaccines. For sure. They absolutely need to
Okay,
do that.
sorry, getting back on topic. Speaking of vaccines and autism. So okay,
Right.
so what studies did you find? Because I found like a variety of like global effects on the body. So like I think metabolic health connection with the gut makes the most sense, right? It's like
Mm-hmm.
dietary. Obviously, we saw I wish I like that cognitive one. We have like significant health effects.
Right.
I saw one about like neurodegeneration as well.
Oh, yeah. So I think the strongest
Yeah.
research that I saw for sure was in Parkinson's research. Um,
Okay.
let me pull that up. Let me pull that up. Let me pull that up. Parkinson's. Just kidding. I didn't put that in here. I had that in my broader notes. Um,
hmm Sorry, I'm just also like
I thought
checking
it
my
was one of
notes.
my really interesting ones that I had. Crap.
And so this is actually something as well that's interesting. It's usually also related to like biodiversity, right? So okay,
Mhm.
you'll see certain profiles that are associated with certain disorders, and so it's like, okay, can we
Yeah.
alter that? But overall, greater gut biodiversity is also considered the most healthy. And
Right.
interestingly, I also learned this at a like not a like a symposia I was at the other day, that the microbiotic diversity across the body is actually considered like the best. So like in your there's apparently your nasal cavity has a microbiome, which I did not know
Oh,
about,
big time.
and
Yeah.
apparently you're having like high diversity of your nasal microbiome is also a positive thing. So, anyways,
Yeah, same with your mouth. Your mouth is got like I think 100 bacteria in and of itself. Like it's some crazy number of just like, but and they're unique to their kind of thing.
yeah.
It's really interesting.
Can
I
you?
can't find
Oh, you can't find it. Okay, never mind.
the Parkinson's thing. I can probably find it because I have my like extended notes. I just put like my abbreviated ones. And,
It is Parkinson's is associated with dopamine. Uh,
it is indeed. They treat it with
Huntington's.
something called L-DOPA. The
Yes.
DOPA standing for dopamine.
Um, Huntington's is genetic, isn't it? It's a genetic disorder.
Yes.
La 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 la. I think what's also difficult about the science sometimes is that it does cross into like, so
Um,
for one of the implications of one of the studies that I looked at was that it's like describes how Western diets, right? So then we start to get into this like complementary alternative therapy space, and we kind of have been touching on this a bit, right? But it's
mhm.
like the like I completely agree that there are plenty complementary and alternative therapies, or like Ayurvedic, Eastern Chinese medicine, these types of things that have benefits, but then also a lot of these methods are like untested in like a clinical
Mhm.
trial setting, right? So all know that like yoga has like a significant benefits for your body, right? High flexibility,
Mhm.
you can do strength training, if you go outside and you get to have, exposure to the sun and stuff, it's good for like you to go do that. However, it's
Right.
also like, is it are you are you aligning your chakras when you're doing yoga? No. But like obviously people go further into it and say that kind of stuff, right? So,
Right. So this is it has to do with short chain fatty acids,
mhm.
um, and I mean it's a pretty complex. Honestly, a little bit above my pay grade to understand the exact mechanism by which it affects neurodegeneration, but it seems to really, really long story short, activate your microglia. So it mounts an inflammatory
Mhm.
response in your body and then also in your brain. And this inflammatory state causes the release of a whole bunch of things, including the stuff that we were talking about earlier that might cause the chronic widespread pain that you find in fibromyalgia.
Yeah.
And let me see what else. We have a really nice graphic actually that I could share.
Yeah,
It's
please.
pretty. So essentially, there's a pathway.
She said I can't describe it, but there is a
Well,
pathway.
so I can, but it's like, okay, then do you explain what TREM2 dependent signaling of stage one dam cells are? Like,
Yes,
no,
yeah,
that is
okay,
frankly,
okay.
that's while I do want to be a good science communicator, I also want to say the things that matter,
Yes.
not say how much I understand or don't a signaling pathway. But this activation of the in, inflammatome, I think that's the thing.
I've
Um,
literally never heard that. That's crazy.
I mean, I think it's just calling your inflammatory system of your body kind of thing, your immune
Okay. Yeah, yeah,
system.
yeah.
But I might also be talking out of my ass on that one too.
I
Um,
will Google it.
inflammatome,
I like honestly want it to be a word because it's so fun. Inflammasome.
inflammasome, the old zome tome
The
swap. that old classic.
That'll.
More inflammatory statements from scientists. What has the world come to? You should have heard us earlier. Layla was saying rodent research, not worth anything. Fucking get it out of here.
I mean,
she said your PhD?
shit.
Get
Shit.
that thing out of here. Don't eat that. Rip that
Inflammatory.
paper up. I don't even have that paper.
It's also like, yeah, that's also, sorry, but on the point that Old Man Felonius made, there's always like little words that I like trigger me when people talk about it in like, oh, science and your health. And I'm like, it's when people talk about inflammation in the body. I'm like, because there is like,
yeah. There's important things. Inflammation is there for a fucking reason.
Yes. And people like, inflammation is like, is a response to certain stuff. So yes, you do not want like your whole nervous system to be inflamed, because that's like, what is it when your spinal cord is inflamed? There's like literally a, what's the condition that I'm thinking of right now?
Meningitis.
Thank you. Meningitis.
Meningitis.
Yes, literally. And like you can die from that. But talking about like inflammation or toxins in the body, those words always like make me want to blow my brains out.
Because those are the buzzwords that
Yes.
the ding dongs that are like, you know, wellness grifters adopt from science to make themselves sound legitimate, because they can't pronounce fucking macrophage.
Yeah. Well, you're like, they're like, oh, your gut is inflamed, and if you do this parasite cleanse, it'll reduce.
Well, that might be true. Your gut might be inflamed. All of our guts are probably inflamed. That you don't need a cleanse for. Mm-hmm. You simply don't.
Did you know? So David Julius, who is a very famous pain researcher and physiology researcher, women have more like visceral pain in their gut essentially, and probably have higher inflammatory responses because of the fact, obviously, that we have like more estrogen and then more prostaglandins as a result of that, and so we have more inflammation.
Well, that's to do with our menstrual cycle, though, right?
Yeah, but it's all in that pelvic region altogether. Like it's not particularly specific. Sorry, I cut you off though.
I don't really remember.
Okay, sorry. Anyway, I don't know if you're looking at the same article. Is it Bockles et al.? I pulled one up. It's a different one.
Bad boy. Which one are you talking about? What paper?
It's one I'm like currently sharing to your screen, but it's just one about neurodegeneration.
This is a bunch of I believe Chinese researchers. So Lo, Mac, Tan, Ng, Chan, Yao, Yang, Ong, Hao. So no, not
sorry. What?
I was just reading all the last
Did you just have a
author.
stroke? Okay. Oh, geez.
I might. I was just trying to read the latest names of
Can you read the names in the Australian accent?
Well, could. I don't know if I can. It's called Microbiota Gut-Brain Axis and its therapeutic applications in neurodegenerative diseases. And it's got a nice little figure here that I'd like to potentially share with the masses. I'm just going to go ahead and open it up in Microsoft Edge. Actually, no.
It's a Nature paper too. Nice.
Is that? You mean it's hosted by Nature.com? I think it's from Signal Transduction and Targeted.
Yes, you're absolutely right. It is not. I just saw it in the corner and it's hosted by Nature. You're right.
Show the figure, mate. I'm going to try and show the figure. Be patient.
Is it this figure?
Let me look. Got to change my windows, mate. It's the second figure in the paper. No. Next one.
This one.
There you go. Essentially, it's showing the bidirectional and multidirectional interactions of the gut. And I'm going, of the gut and the brain, mate. Like, why does she lean Scottish? I don't know. She's a multicultural girl. Taco Bell and pizza, an American classic. Anyways, if y'all aren't on Vulgar Science's stream, they're sharing the screen right now. Are you sharing it on your stream?
Yes, yeah.
Okay, yeah, go there so I don't have to do the work, frankly. Also good. Um,
Alicia, you gotta get better at that, gal.
I am good, but you're already sharing it. What's less work? These people clicking onto a separate stream where I already am.
Are
I'm
you
on
clicking
board.
around until you can figure out how to get it up?
Listen, fine, I'll fucking do it just to make
I'm
a
kidding.
goddamn. Nope,
I have
nope.
not.
You started this.
Oh, sorry, I was
Looking
just
for
gonna read the comments. Sorry. So I have
yeah,
not
please.
actually heard of the Taco Bell cleanse. It sounds extremely painful. Fiery.
No, people aren't doing a Taco Bell cleanse. They're doing a Taco Bell cleanse. I gotta
Uh,
get on that.
we're
I
gonna.
believe in cleanses, if that's what they sound like.
I have heard of parasite cleanses though. I briefly brought that up earlier. That's a literal
If you
thing.
have parasite, a
Yes,
parasite?
what they do is I like it. I don't know, but I saw
It's,
online that this girl had who had PCOS, which is actually just got redefined as PMOS. So it has metabolic implications, this disorder. And I don't know, like I think it was capsules, I don't or powder, but essentially it was like supposed to clean out their gut and they felt like they had like benefits as a result of this. I don't know, but it's actually
mm-hmm.
insane. It's like, yeah, you just cleanse your gut microbiome. And that's the kind of shit that
Oh,
I'm
I love
like,
that.
that's like
You just, no worries.
one dangerous, two yeah,
Yeah,
stupid.
don't do that.
Don't do
Don't cleanse it.
let me just I'm just
Well,
going
'cause,
to I just want to get like a casual tapeworm and lose like 10 pounds
just a
before
cash tapeworm. Just a little cash
Paris.
tape.
Uh,
Oh,
the laxative effect caused by eating fast food. The taco cleanse. Yeah.
stop. I just simply can't believe that that's a real thing. See?
For all of our lactose intolerant friends, it's Dairy Queen. The Dairy Queen cleanse.
Oh, good. Perfect. Browser source?
Yes, why don't we just bring back leeches and change all our
Bring
humors?
back
So
leeches.
sorry, I do want to break down this figure though, because it is kind of sick. Okay, so it's talking. Okay, so we have some microglia. I think that's a microglia. That's a microglia, or is that just a cell? That's a microglia.
This isn't working. I had it before and now I don't have it. I don't have it now.
And so then we. I also am sharing it with you if you want to just use the link. I don't know. It's up to you how you want to do it, Alicia. Okay, so we have neurotoxic factors that are creating neurodegeneration in the brain, propagation of protein aggregates into unaffected brain regions. Okay, so this is probably linked to at the top. It's probably linked to Alzheimer's. No, if it's talking about
They talk about ALS. They talk about
okay,
Parkinson's.
okay.
I don't understand why this isn't allowing me to capture this Microsoft Edge thing. That's exactly how I did it last time. There we go. I did this like exact same thing 3 times, and it just took its sweet time
That's so weird.
recognizing it. There you go,
Yeah.
folks.
I do find it only
Yeah.
works like on I can only share my screen on Chrome. Like if I try to pull up Firefox, it does not allow me like it does not provide
Right.
the option, so I don't know why that is.
My chat is also just straight up not because it's in black, so I'm just gonna make it go away. But all right, folks, I'll show you what you're
We even
working
have
with.
a brand name. Nicely done. Cat. What?
Here we go. So this is the figure that I was
What?
talking about. So essentially, it's showing the mix of things that happen when you have the inflammasome going. Um, I frankly don't know what TREM is, but transitory and functional state, sure, why not?
Mm-hmm.
But it sounds to me and it looks to me like it goes from this healthy state to this dysfunctional state, which causes this kind of cascade of
Mm-hmm.
neuroinflammation and all of these cytokines here. It's not really important what these are, but what that means is that the maintenance and kind of upkeep of your neurons and related things happening in your brain are not going to be going as smoothly or as effectively because your brain is dealing with this inflamed state and your microglia are doing that and
Mm-hmm.
not what
Yeah.
they would ordinarily be doing, which is just kind of standard upkeep, right? And then
Yeah.
that causes this cascade, which causes things to kind of come back, and then it just stays in this sort of circle. So yeah, that's that.
Yeah.
I'm gonna
And
see.
so
Keep going.
neuroinflammation is like, it can be like acute, it can be localized, it can be, so like if
Mm-hmm.
you like injure a nerve, or actually even if you like injure yourself, you'll have like what's referred to as like a neuroinflammatory response, which is like what causes sort of these cascades in the area, and you get the swelling and you get the,
Right.
was the hamster running on the wheel again, Alicia? It's the clickety clack.
I'm trying to. If I can hear it through my headphones, then I'm sure y'all can hear it. Now, see, I got these in a separate non-web window so that I could share them, but it won't let me share just like this photo thing through the way that I learned how to do it. So I'm gonna have to actually just go back to the paper that I got it from, which requires me to go back in my long notes. That's fine. Everything's
So
fine.
wait, this is a different figure slash paper you want to show?
Yes.
Okay. While you pull that
Nope.
up, I
That's
will just briefly. I think that this paper is slightly different in that it is talking about like protective factors as opposed to
fine.
like these. And it has, so okay, the SCFA, which you said, short chain fatty acid producing and
Short chain
tryptophan
fatty acids.
metabolizing bacteria exert neuroprotective effects by modulating immune responses and then creating neuronal resilience. Interesting. Okay, so that is like, that's kind of referencing something that we'll go back to what Uma Naidu said, and we'll like back up some of it with the science. Wait, short chain fatty acids are what we're gonna find in healthy fats, right? We're talking avocados, stuff that like seeds and nuts,
Mm-hmm.
probably like lean fats like turkey, chicken, and that, so having, eating those, consuming those, olive oil, those can help to promote neuronal resilience, and then neuronal resilience can help to prevent certain diseases. And I think they specifically point to, what did they point to here?
Here we go. These are the figures that I was going to bring up
I don't know
before.
actually.
But I don't need to. Oh, that's not what we're talking about right now. But I did figure it out, so that's good. Oot. I
Do you
figured
want
it
to
oot.
do you want to
My own
share
accent.
the figure?
Well, it's more the figure that I had planned to talk about than the one that I was exactly talking about. I was sharing the one we were just talking about, but um, I don't know that we're necessarily there. I guess we can be there. It just requires me to open a different part of my notes. I think, yeah, short chain fatty acids. Eating those helps
Yes.
the phages and microbiota that
Yeah.
support tryptophan signaling, which is related
Yeah.
to
And I think this,
serotonergic signaling.
yes, and I think this overlaps kind of with what the other paper was saying. It was like kind of they have like shown the opposite, it seemed like. Because they're talking about immune responses, this is referencing like microglia, right, which is an immune cell. Um,
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I'll be so honest. I just like don't. I don't know enough about it. Like even just this like small deep dive that we've done. Like not even a deep dive. Like this shallow dive that we've done for this episode.
Yeah,
It's like I think it's like I think we're still in the early stages because we're talking about it and it's like only in animals primarily that we're seeing stuff.
absolutely. I here. Let me share what I just
Yeah,
got
what you wanted to
figured.
share, I want to see.
Yeah. Okay. So this is one of the kind of more helpful, I think.
Can you share it to me, like in our
Share
call?
to. Uh, you mean share my screen?
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Like inside of our call, share your screen, and then I can share it with my viewers as well. Though there may be a high overlap, I do not know.
There. Should be working. Olive oil pulses and such. Is there a correlation with Mediterranean and Middle Eastern populations experiencing more neuronal resilience? I mean, insofar as neuronal resilience is a thing that can be quantified, sure. I think a Mediterranean diet that's high in these short chain fatty acids is, I think that's the largest part of it, is they're having lots of plant based
Yes.
oils and different types of fats than the saturated fats that we have. but I don't know enough about how that relates to like a neuroprotective factor more than say just the fact that life is very different in the Mediterranean world, or if you're rich enough to be like, I only eat a Mediterranean diet kind of thing. Like,
Yeah.
if your life is privileged enough that you can make all of those changes, regardless of whether you live in Greece or Italy or not, then you're probably having a different kind of world than the people that might otherwise be disrupting their microbiomes
Mhm.
by eating a largely hyper-processed, high fat, high
Yeah.
sugar Western diet, for lack of a better term.
Yeah.
And I think the important thing to kind of point out with this is that what it's going to do, if you look in the second kind of panel here, is you've heard, lots of people have heard of leaky gut syndrome. This is going to be kind of related to this. Dysbiosis just means the opposite of symbiosis,
Okay,
which means
I don't think I know enough about leaky gut syndrome. Can you explain leaky gut syndrome?
it literally means that the stuff that's inside of your gut is
Yeah,
leaking to the outside of that. It's going through your
that sounds awful. I hate that.
endothelial cells,
Yeah.
and basically the stuff that starts out as food that's digested from your stomach and
Mhm.
eventually turns into your poop, that's going into the wider system of your body. And what happens then, this is a different figure in this paper that I will
Hate that.
grab. Um, what it will do then is it will activate your vagus nerve in a bidirectional fashion. Which I think this might be a better little image here. So these kind of wiggly areas are what lines your intestines. And leaky gut syndrome is essentially when that wall gets compromised through various different things. Could be wacky pH, it could be wacky phages or a wacky virome, making it so that they're not eating the wrong bacteria that you shouldn't have in there. Thus, the bad bacteria are flourishing and decaying or atrophying or lesioning, if you will, your endothelial wall. And then what happens is outside of that, you'll get all kinds of neurotransmission that's going to go to your vagus nerve, which is going to go all the way up to your brain
Mhm.
and essentially tell your brain to do a bunch of other stuff, such as mount this neuroinflammatory response that we've been talking about with these microglia, and potentially disrupt your blood brain barrier. The mechanisms by which this happens at like a molecular level, I am not confident of, but I do know that there's a very specific pH that needs to happen for your cell walls and neurotransmitters to be effective, because it's a phospholipid bilayer. I suspect that something is going on there. What that means is that one side of it is fatty and the other side is phosphorescent. Maybe that's the word.
So are you saying if your body is acidic, Alicia, could you correct that with
You
alkaline
got to get some
water?
alkaline water in there. You got to buy alkaline water, and you got
I
to
put some
make it
squeeze
so
some
that when
lemon
it
in
goes,
there for flavor.
that's acidic.
Yeah,
So
exactly.
no.
Yeah, I love my alkaline water with some lemon in there, girl.
Yeah, that's my favorite thing. So how this occurs, I am genuinely not sure. What is happening is more the thing that I would say is important, which is why I'm going to bring us back to that other figure. This image. Because it's going to be showing you things like bile, which is for sure not supposed to be kicking around doing stuff when you don't want it to. Bile is for breaking down fats and stuff like that in your liver. That's mainly what it's used for, depending on where the bile's coming from, gallbladder, all that kind of stuff, pancreas. Um, but what it's going to do, by the looks of this, me postulating, is that compromises the blood-brain barrier. So you can have probiotic homeostatic things, and then the short chain fatty acids and whatever the fuck a TMAO is, supports the blood-brain barrier, or you can have dysbiosis and cholestasis. Cholestasis. That probably has something to do with
That is
cholesterol,
terrible.
I'm guessing.
Could I
So if you have a high cholesterol diet, you're probably, if I had to go to my, Latin roots, that sort of thing.
cholestasis. Well, okay, let's think choline, the stasis of choline, so it's probably yeah, like
I'm
dysmotility.
thinking cholesterol,
Oh,
which might be related to choline.
I don't know
I don't know.
actually.
I don't know enough about like
I'll
microbiology
Google it while
to.
you keep going.
Um, but what you can see is that essentially there's multiple different ways for your gut microbiome to influence things that are happening in your brain. I don't know what an XNA1 is or what ZO1OCLN are, but what I think is the most supported research that we have is certainly this serotonergic 5-HT3 is
Mhm.
one of the suite of serotonin receptors. 5-HT is how we refer to serotonin in the brain. And I think there's a lot of different serotonin receptors, like a lot. Like I think there's like 15 or something. I
Yeah,
can't
yeah.
remember because I learned this in like early masters or late undergrad, maybe even. But because they're lining this nerve and all of the kind of individual neurons that make up that nerve tract, what happens is they can bind to that serotonin receptor and modulate the signaling that's going to go up eventually to your brain and then talk to the rest of the world. The rest of the world being your body, and kind of instantiate this anxious or depressive state or whatever other neuropsychiatric conditions we've kind of been talking about. And these are some of the ways that it does that we are aware of so far. That's
Nice.
the best I've got. But I
Apparently,
did like how the figure kind of like shows like the literal breakdown of these
yeah,
things
it's
as
actually
a
really
result
good.
of this dysbiosis,
Hmm.
right? Yeah.
Apparently, cholestasis is a liver condition with reduced or completely blocked flow of bile.
Right. So they wouldn't be able to break down fats.
Yeah,
That
yeah,
makes
yeah,
sense.
yeah.
Right. Yeah. Okay. You need bile, break down them fats.
It's one of your
Um,
humors. It needs to be balanced
Make their balance is humorous. Get humorous.
with some alkaline water. Um,
Get it with the alkaline water for sure,
yes.
for sure, for sure.
I do want to point out that your partner is drinking bleach. Alicia, I think you need to correct that immediately.
Sorry. Let me get back. Let me get back. Crack luck. I can stop sharing. Stop sharing. Ah! Break out the leeches. I'm just really hoping to absorb some of the IQ by listening today. COVID was a damn hoax. Keep my teeth white. I only drink water with a pH of 10.
That's
I love
bleach.
that.
Bleach is like a pH of 10.
That's great. I love that for them. That should help with a lot of things. Um, yeah, I think
You.
what I've taken
Sorry.
away from this,
Mhm.
broadly speaking, is there are many varied ways to easily fuck your microbiome and thus mess with your gut brain axis signaling. And one of the most comprehensive ways to improve that,
Mhm.
in absence of doing any changes to not doing the negative stuff, if you just add more fiber, that is one of the best ways. You don't have to probiotic. You don't have to do a bunch of other stuff, because what the fiber essentially does is supports the virome and the phages that then either they can go into the bacteria and like change their like genetic makeup and their ability to do all of the
Mm.
various things that they do. Again, that's a little bit above my pay grade, but they can also lyse or ruin the cells of certain bacteria that are not
Oh.
beneficial, and that's the main one. That's like the only one that's basically kind of unilaterally supported across all the broad bands of this type of research, from what I found.
So it says, like, the thing. Okay. Sorry. The AI summary that I have found, fiber acts as a prebiotic, serving as
Mm,
the primary fuel source for the beneficial gut bacteria
yeah,
in your gut. So they're a fuel source.
yeah,
So okay, the bacteria are eating it. These microbes digest the fiber. They produce short chain fatty
Chain
acids, SCFAs, we saw it again, reducing inflammation, strengthening your intestinal barrier, no leaky gut, no
no leaky
leaky gut,
no leaky gut.
and
Get that
helping
out of here.
regulate your metabolism. So,
Right.
I mean, so yeah, we're actually, I feel like we're identifying some of these pathways. I thought it was actually really, a couple things while you were talking that I thought about is like the vagus nerve is also associated pretty heavily with like parasympathetic regulation. So if you're having
100%.
dysfunction of the vagus nerve, you're going to be having like, you're going to have anxiety because it's your sympathetic system, which is like your fight or flight, is not going to be like well balanced. And you will,
Right.
so there
Right.
is some implications there as well, probably. Sorry, we were saying.
Absolutely. I think that it's very fraught with chicken egg issues in that
Yes.
we have the impetus to maybe eat things that are more indulgent and sugary or
Mm-hmm.
calorie dense or rich, whatever, in fats
Yes.
and caloric density when we are otherwise dysregulated emotionally.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
This is what I'm thinking. And that's evolutionarily supported. If you're in distress, you should be fueling your body to get through that distress and using that energy, because usually back then when our bodies were being evolutionarily conceived of or curated, it was before we had the comforts of houses,
Yeah.
like these sorts of things would have been developing when we were still like caves and shit,
Yes.
right?
Brownies in the cupboard, essentially. We didn't have that.
Right. So in that situation, you eat the dysregulating food, it upsets your microbiome, it signals stuff to your vagus nerve and activates your parasympathetic nervous system and disrupts your parasympathetic tone, if you will,
Mm-hmm.
making it so that it's more easily primed for activation and anxiety or depression or whatever. But then you also have the descending signal that might be facilitating that on the reciprocal end. So the anxiety begets more anxiety
Yeah.
by dysregulating your whole body system, because it's all connected. And we can talk about single pathways and like this is the mechanism, but frankly,
Oh, it's
no,
absolutely
it's all the
multimodal.
mechanisms.
Yeah.
So it's like that's
100%.
very not useful, but just eat your five
Yeah.
kids.
And I was gonna say also, and when we say fiber, probably like I guess any fiber is good, but like opting for fiber that is like also coming from a nutritious source is probably very helpful, right?
Absolutely.
So that
Yeah.
maybe you're already obtaining some extra short chain fatty acids and or like
Mm-hmm.
so some avocados, those have fiber in them.
Yeah.
Your leafy greens as well. They don't have short chain fatty acids, but they will have like
Well, they'll be filled with antioxidants.
yes.
And basically, the way that I describe antioxidants in a meaningful, non buzzword way is it's essentially the closest thing you can get to anti aging or anti cell dysregulation or
Mm-hmm.
anti cell death. Like that's as close as you could like kind of approximate without having to get super sciencey. Would you agree with that? Antioxidants.
Yeah, I think so. Like it.
A lot of people act like they just say that and they're like, oh yeah, acai berries, those are good for you because antioxidant,
Yes.
right? And they're not wrong,
Yeah.
but why that's beneficial is because it's going to
They.
prevent oxidation, which is what
Yes.
happens when things rust
Yes.
and get exposed to oxygen.
And it's like intervening. Is it's like at a cellular level? It's intervening on apoptosis? Question mark or
Know if it's like anti-apoptotic. I think it
okay.
depends where the cell is, what type of cell it is, but part of the cycle that causes the cascade that
Mm-hmm.
leads to apoptosis, which is cell death,
Mm-hmm.
um, involves an oxidation step. I don't know if it's as easy as the cell's oxidized, bad boys. She's going apoptotic. Get her out of here.
They apparently.
Throw the virus in my stomach and I can rest. You can rest. Yeah.
So apparently they neutralize free radicals, which
I'm lying. I'm so lying. Sorry.
which also sounds like a made up thing, but
Sorry,
they're
say that
they're
again.
not. They apparently neutralize free radicals.
Yes. Oh, I remember stuff now.
Yes.
Free radicals.
Yes.
We don't like those guys.
Yeah, which are associated, I think, with cognitive decline, if I'm not mistaken. Like they're implicated in
I think they're implicated in all
Yeah,
bad things.
that's super fair. Actually, I wanted to point to what you were saying earlier about the Mediterranean diet stuff, right? Because
Mm.
I
Yeah,
think
old
that's
Pantalonius, I think, brought that up earlier.
yes, yeah.
Yeah,
And I
that's
think like
Pantalonius.
yeah, like we can talk like chicken or egg, or we can talk about like, they're correlated, but there's like other causes, right? So Alicia brought up like socioeconomic status, which is like obviously super,
Mm-hmm.
we already harped on it enough. But yeah, like
Comrade.
yes, yes, these um diets, so it's linked to like longer lifespans as well as
Mm-hmm.
reduced cognitive decline, but like when we think about the Mediterranean lifestyle as well, so it's like okay, we'll see it in Mediterranean populations, we can point to their diet, but we're also talking about like these are
8 weeks of vacation a year in
walkable
Italy.
yeah, walkable cities. Culturally, this is one thing that I always go back to reference to, um is that class with that prof that we always bring up, that he's like,
Yeah,
oh, he's so
Ollie.
profound. We talked about cognitive decline and how gossip is it's like social interaction and gossiping is negatively associated with cognitive decline. And that professor sort of theorized that it's because gossiping requires you to remember details and to like actually practice and like train your
Yeah,
brain and remembering
yeah,
who's who and what did they do and and these
right.
aspects of social interactions. And so like culturally, Mediterranean like are much more socially entwined, like,
Absolutely.
and they have more walkable cities, etc. So there's also these lifestyle factors we have to consider. It's, for me, it could be diet. I'm sure that's part of it, but it's not always going to be
Absolutely.
just that.
Right. Yeah, I couldn't agree more. And I think a lot of the attitudes, like cultural attitudes towards things, are very different, particularly in America, but in Western society in general, maybe not even all Western society, in like the hyper capitalistic places of the
Yes.
world,
Yeah.
work
I think
is the priority. You know what I mean?
I think
And that is
car
so not. It's live to work, not work to live. And
yes. And
as useless as
car centric society is like indicative of
yeah.
all the, because we don't want to take public transportation, which requires us to interact with other human beings. So we
Mm-hmm.
want to be contained. So you can essentially do your whole workday talking to nobody. You know what I mean? You
Right.
can get in your
100%.
car, you can drive to work with interacting with no humans. You go to your, drive from your suburban home to your office. Maybe you interact with your colleagues, maybe you don't. Get back in your
Mm-hmm.
car. Like it's you're not going to walk, you're not going to do any walking that day because you know what I mean? You can sit at your desk all day. Like
Yeah.
culturally just totally different.
Yeah. It sucks. It kind of reminds me of how much things suck.
Yeah. And
Which I mean, we
also
circle back to that.
bigger countries, like we bigger countries, more non-local food sources, right? So you're making
Absolutely.
food travel greater distances. Therefore, we have more ultra processed foods with more preservatives, and we move away
Yeah,
from
for
these
shelf stability,
yes,
right?
exactly, for certain aspects of the Mediterranean diet. Also, more suburban environments further away from grocery stores, you don't want to have to go. You can't walk there every week. It's like 30 minutes from the closest grocery store because you live in a rural community and you have to drive there.
Mm-hmm.
You don't want to do that every week. So you buy 3 weeks out, 4 weeks out. You buy your Costco load and it has to last
Right.
longer. Therefore, it has more preservatives.
Yeah,
And like a lot,
absolutely.
so many cultural implications that play into it. You're like so right about that. We agree. I agree. We agree.
We're really blowing people's minds today
I
with
know. I
geometry.
mean,
Yeah,
Harvard's study of
I
adult development found that the biggest predictor of longevity was social interaction and meaningful social. Yeah.
sorry, I'm yawning.
Hmm.
Let me find what I was going to say
I
next.
am also 83% cortisol. Old man Polonius.
Honestly, 83 is a low day. Like, frankly.
You're like 95% and counting.
So I learned a bunch of new things while I was doing this research. There's something called hold on, kynurenine, kynurenine, quinernine, which
Okay.
is a metabolite produced when tryptophan is broken down, part of a pathway generating neuroactive compounds involved in inflammation, stress response, and brain function. And that can alter a whole bunch of other types of signaling. So that's one of the ways that an inflammation or an inflamed gut could actually cause issues is, I think you were kind of talking about this earlier,
Mm-hmm.
maybe without the name of the actual metabolite, but when the tryptophan, which is a precursor to serotonin, is broken down, then you're going to have less serotonin. And while serotonin is not a happy neurochemical, it is something that's very neuromodulatory and can make it so that other systems that activate or deactivate, not disactivate, activate or deactivate in response to things like stress might get sensitized or
Mm,
desensitized, right? So you could see this kind of like chain reaction where the signaling is less because the tryptophan that precursors the serotonin is being broken down. So if there's no precursor, there's no fuel to make the thing that does the neuromodulation. If there's no thing that does neuromodulation, your body goes into efficiency mode, which is, it doesn't go into efficiency mode. Your body is always in efficiency mode. And it says, oh, if I'm not having to process as much of this neurotransmitter, then why do I have all these receptors?
mm-hmm.
Let me recycle those. And then if you do your adjusting and there's all of a sudden a flood of serotonin, you don't have enough places for it to bind to. And depending on the way in which certain receptors have affinities, and there's
Yes,
all
yeah.
these different ways that can be tuned. But broadly speaking, if there's no lock for the key, then your key is useless. It's just a key, right? So the good news is, as easily as it can downregulate, these things can upregulate as well, and your
Mm-hmm.
body is very adaptive, which I think is one of the things that we get misled about in like pop psychology. They're like, your brain's finished developing at 25. I'm like, girl, no.
Yeah. I mean, like,
Like,
neural pruning is your whole life, right? Like, you don't
yeah,
use it, you lose it, essentially. Use it or lose
our
it.
brains super plastic though. We're
Yeah.
like, our brains are amazing at adapting.
Mm-hmm.
Like, all you have to do is see someone have a like single event trauma induced PTSD to know just
Yeah.
how sophisticated your brain is at being like, all it took was one time. And now if I hear pop, pop, I think that I'm in, some sort of war zone, or, I
Mm-hmm.
hear a
Mm-hmm.
plane overhead and I think, oh, fuck,
Yeah.
I'm not going to say it, but you guys all know
Yeah.
what I'm talking about.
I think we get less plastic as we get older, though, right? Those experiences are harder to decondition if the older you are.
I don't know if I have seen evidence to suggest that that is true,
I mean,
that it's less easy to do as you age.
fluid
Um,
intelligence versus crystallized intelligence. There's a little, like, there's pieces of it.
yeah, that's not a direct measure of neuroplasticity, though.
I
That's a
guess.
that's a proxy of it at best, right? I mean, you do get more set in your ways,
It,
certainly. Yeah, I mean that's
yeah.
just true,
It becomes
right?
more difficult to learn languages as you get older, like that kind of stuff.
Absolutely, and that's because of the critical language period. So, I mean, it's not to say that there aren't critical periods to
Mm-hmm.
development, and that some of those don't get missed at certain ages, right? We talked about Jeannie, the girl that never learned languages because she missed that critical period,
Mm-hmm.
and it's just more or less impossible after that. But these sort of more subtle, I guess, changes are something that I think your brain can adapt to pretty readily over time, in absence of any other kind of condition of neurodegeneration. Like, your memory gets worse as you age because just your brain is less functional overall, but that doesn't necessarily mean that it gets less good at adapting.
Mm-hmm.
It could mean that. I don't know that I've seen any compelling evidence to suggest that. It might be true though. I might just be being an old curmudgeon, frankly.
I feel like, let me, okay. You, do you have more studies you want to talk about, or else I'm going to be Googling this on?
No, I mean, I kind of went more broad and like
Yeah.
interesting stuff. So another thing to mention is we
Mm-hmm.
kind of brushed on it earlier is the hypothalamic pituitary adrenal axis,
Yeah.
which is the major stress hormone system that regulates cortisol, which we've just talked about, and essentially is the system that goes
Mm-hmm.
from your brain. So you get like a visual signal, snake. It'll be like, hey, hypothalamus, fire that bad boy up, send that off to the pituitary. Pituitary is going to be like, yo, adrenal gland, there's a snake. Give them adrenaline. They need to run away from the snake, right? And that whole thing works in a cyclical nature. Once the adrenaline's done, it'll go up and be like, all right, guys, got rid of that snake. We're gone. That sort of thing. And it's all good, right? But this is something that can also be changed by your gut microbiome. Mainly, I think, from what I'm just grain of salt with what I'm about to say, but it changes motility, mucus production, and permeability, and actual physical like gut sense. So like a sense of fullness or emptiness kind of thing, like your literal physical sense of
Hmm.
your gut can change the way that your HPA axis interacts. And again, that circles back to it's probably vagus nerve
Yeah,
stimulation. So if
maybe.
you're full, your vagus nerve is going to be getting literal pressure on it, which is also why breathing and breath work is actually scientifically backed, because you doing your diaphragmatic breathing
Hmm.
will basically lightly palpate your vagus nerve and tell the vagus nerve, hey, they think this is a grain of salt and reaching research, but they think that it's a frequency signal. So it's kind of like temporal summation or
Interesting.
spatial summation, in that, like, if you're breathing at like a
Huh.
kind of rate,
Yeah.
that stress. And
Yeah.
it's because your vagus nerve is getting
So like a
instead of,
rate coding situation.
yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
interesting.
I don't know how structured and rigorous that research is, but I do know that it exists. And that's a really interesting thing for
Hmm.
me that has nothing to do with food and everything to do with the fact that you can stop and take a deep breath and maybe help regulate your body in a different way.
Hmm.
Yeah.
So I did look this up. I did, however, put a typo in there and found something
The brain.
arguably more horrifying than our
There's
brains
plastic
being,
in the brain.
because plastic polymers are virtually indestructible. The millions of tons of plastic already in our soils and oceans continuously cycle into the atmosphere.
Love
Exposure.
that.
Oh my god. Exposure to
Love that.
UV
That's great.
radiation in the air actually breaks larger plastics down into smaller, even harder to remove. And it's unlike acid rain, which stopped falling when pollution regulations were enacted. Plastic rain is permanent. Great.
That's
Love it.
perfect. Hey, speaking of bacteria, though, there are people working on bacteria that break down plastic. There are people working on that. There's people actively working on
Oh
that.
yeah,
I
I think
read an
I've
article
seen a fair
about it
amount of
in
that.
maybe The Economist. I don't know. The issue being, of course, that everything is made of plastic, and if you just unleash that bad boy on the world, being like, take care of the microplastics in the soil, buddy, and then it's like, you don't get a Stanley handle anymore. Just not. I'm gonna eat that too. Me hungry,
Like,
you know. But
sorry. I
hello
don't
to
know
the
why
boys in blue.
I'm so tired of
Now, when I sit in the middle of the park doing breathing exercises, I can tell people I'm palpating my vagus. I mean, without knowing what palpating your vagus means, people might be like, dude, you should do that at home. Don't palpate your vagus.
Yeah, I know, right? It's like I'm doing my Kegels.
I wonder if Kegels do that as well. They might.
Uh,
Anyways, does the brain become less plastic over time?
okay, we have an PubMed NIH. What is it? Aging. This is from 2018, which is not like super recent, but
Mm.
okay. It has been assumed brain plasticity peaks at a young age and then gradually decreases. Blah 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 blah. Tremendous advances in medical imaging, mounting evidence for lifelong brain plasticity. Okay. Does it slow down though?
I mean, the first answer in the AI overview says yes, your brain becomes less plastic over time.
I
I
mean, I don't always trust. I go to the
certainly
it
not. No,
lies.
do
It
not.
lies.
She lies. I think,
Here, there we go.
yeah.
Oh, sorry, I'm not showing you. Oh, yeah, you're sorry. I'm not showing you the articles because it's not. I hate that it doesn't change the tab. I apologize. This is the second. So I was reading another article, and then,
Don't trust the clanker overview, not the robot slur. Love.
sorry, the clankers. They're coming for us.
Clank?
La 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 la. Is what year is this one from? 2015. Okay, it's older.
Why happen? Why like this?
We argue that mechanisms of the plasticity change over the lifespan with different slopes of change in different individuals. Okay. So we're gonna go with
Yeah,
yes. It slows down. It slows down.
yeah. I think it's one of those things where it's like you can cleanly say that in a broad sense, but like there's so much nuance to each of the
Mm-hmm.
ways and machinations of it that like what does that mean as a takeaway message?
You know,
If you want to
yeah,
learn something,
I'm
learn it
sure
sooner than later.
the rich people it slows down slower than
Right, yeah, because they're getting those short chain fatty acids
yes.
and doing their breathing exercises. They're palpating their vagus
They're
nerves.
doing yoga and eating their Mediterranean salad that they get.
Speaking of rich people and a complete digression from the topic of choice
Mm-hmm.
for today, have you ever watched the show Beef
Yes,
with
I've
Ali
watched
Wong?
both seasons. There's
Oh, you've watched both seasons. We
yes,
just started the new season.
yeah,
Just. Seems interesting. The first one was fucking
wild. I know
chef's kiss.
it was so good.
Absolute symphony.
This one
Love
is
that show.
like I don't know. It's less of there's less about like class. Everybody is financially struggling in that in season 2, so it's like less class tones. I would say.
Okay. Okay. Yeah, I mean, I love Oscar Isaac, so
Mm-hmm.
you know, I'll sign right up. Carrie Mulligan's cool too,
Mm-hmm. Did we ever put
but
Oscar Isaac on the daddy list? I feel like to
I think
a
he was mayor
throwback.
of the Daddy List. He was co leader of the Daddy List along with Oscar or Pedro Pascal.
Yeah. So throwback for those viewers who have not been with us for multiple years.
Yeah.
We took a 2-year hiatus, but in 2023 primarily, yes, we in our streams during that era we had a list of people that we referred to as like the daddy list. So this
Not
had
just people though, because Popeye's Choke Me Daddy
oh
biscuits were
yeah, that's true. It was like
which
also
I ate very recently.
oh, you've tried them. So do you agree?
I had tried them. They have it in Canada. I had tried them before.
Oh. Oh, that's true. They do. They do have it in some places.
I
Uh,
remember when we got Popeyes in Calgary, and there was a lineup down the block because people were like, "Oh my god, we have Popeyes."
yeah.
So yeah, that's. But you want to know what's not good for your gut microbiome?
Popeyes.
Popeyes.
Fucking
Popeyes
Popeyes.
is not great for it. Um, but yeah, apparently fiber can make up for all manner of sins, like cardiovascularly as well as neuroprotectively. So like, just hit the lentils, guys. Mix the lentils
Yeah.
in with your taco meat. I don't do that. I haven't done that.
Mix the
Beans.
lentils.
Get the beans. Or just like eat raisin bran. That's my strategy because it requires zero preparation, and I love raisin bran because I'm 90.
You love Raisin Bran? That is a factoid. Like, I did not know about you, but two, that explains so much.
What does that
I
explain?
don't
My
know.
sparkling gut micro fucking biome
It's
from
your
all that
old
fiber.
soul.
Oh, Huffero, thank you for redeeming
Mm-hmm.
Hydrate. Chug, chug, chug. Yeah, thanks for that redemption, and also thanks for being here. Thanks for the lurk. Uh,
Lurk.
yeah, so I think like take home message: get your healthy fats, get
Mm-hmm.
your fiber. We don't even need a take home message. It's
Yeah.
9:06. But I don't know that I have anything like
I know.
super
I'm
more
also like
compelling
pretty
to
much out of
say.
content at this point, unfortunately.
I mean, it depends how deep you want to go. Like I don't know.
I just feel like it's such like because a lot of the studies are in rodents, we're talking about like cellular level stuff, and it's so difficult to talk about like cells which have like abbreviations and like acronyms and
Right.
stuff at like
Yeah.
a level, like, a layperson level,
Right.
unfortunately.
I mean, I think it's also like what utility does that bring? Because I did look into the like what causes the breakdown
Yes.
in the blood-brain barrier that we were observing in that
Mm-hmm.
little whoopsie, in that diagram that I had shown before. But all you could say about that is that they're scaffolding proteins that support the integrity of the blood-brain barrier, and you
Mm-hmm.
could say stuff about tight junctions and all of this, which just basically means a small enough hole for only certain molecules to get through because you don't want everything getting to the brain.
Hmm.
And that's one of the Z things that we were talking about before. But I mean, what does that bring to our science communication from walk away from this knowing something that's useful sort of thing? I think knowing that there's bidirectional crosstalk from your gut to your brain. Why did my camera just turn off? I literally did nothing, and my camera just was like,
She's back.
"Don't want to be." Anyways, the take home is that it's bidirectional, it's multi-directional, and
Mm-hmm.
that your gut can influence your brain can influence your gut. What you can eat or what you eat, how you breathe, how you operate in the world can influence all of these things.
Yes. Sorry that
The
I am.
easiest way to support your gut microbiome is through healthy diet, traditionally marketed healthy diet. But you, like Layla was saying earlier, you can eat an avocado that has fiber and kind of do a 2-for-1, because like I don't want to be like, oh, go eat all the expensive Mediterranean diet bullshit. I mean, by all means, if you have the means to do that,
Yeah.
go ahead. But in absence of that, just try and literally get some Metamucil in your human body.
Mm-hmm.
Just do that.
Yeah, sorry, I'm trying to pull up a video that I, in reference to what Get a Grip said, which was that we all rust, which is actually apparently possibly true. I'm gonna pull up somebody who is like a nutritionist scientist who like referred
Mm-hmm.
to as the glucose goddess, who may or may not be trying to sell you something essentially, but she references actually that our body essentially like it essentially cooks. Like our tissue is like when we're older, our tissue is actually browner than it is when we're younger. And so it's
That
essentially
adds up.
yeah, so it's essentially this like
Cooking though?
yeah, well she likens it to cooking. So here, let's see.
Oh, okay,
Okay.
sure, yeah.
Yeah, yeah,
In
yeah,
a
yeah, yeah,
metaphorical
yeah.
sense, sure. I'm just like, we're not getting hotter. I mean, I am, but
1 second. And that
what
is
did you
like
use? I
actually
drink bleach and Monster. The two are clearly indistinguishable. You know what? That's not true. That shit is jet fuel. Not good for the microbiome.
okay. Here, let's see if this is
Love me a tight junction. I was gonna make that joke, and then I was like, you know what? Leave that on the table. Leave some meat on the bone.
Did you know?
You know, let someone else take that. And I'm glad that someone did.
okay, let's see if this works.
We're cooked. I'm getting hotter.
That as a human being,
Okay, why are you screaming at me? Girl.
did you know that as a human being, from the moment you're born,
Why is the music so high on this?
you slowly
What the hell? Okay, calm down.
glycate, you slowly cook.
What?
I didn't say anything.
Sorry, Sean's talking to me. That's
Start
why.
to cook.
Yes, like a chicken in the oven. And then when you're fully cooked, you die. I know it sounds crazy, but
Interesting.
it is true. And on the inside, you're actually browning. So if you look at the cartilage of a baby, it's white. If you look at the cartilage of somebody who's 100 years old, it's brown. It's been glycated. Glycation is cooking and it's aging. Now, why am I telling you
That's
this?
real.
Because every time you have a
Glycation is
glucose
aging.
spike, it accelerates glycation. Glucose causes this cooking, causes this glycation, causes this aging. So the more glucose spikes you have, the faster you age. And this shows on your skin as wrinkles, right? I'm actually 85 years old, but you can't tell because I don't have glucose spikes. And it also ages your organs within. And that's just one of the few things that happen when you have too many glucose spikes over time.
Okay. I don't know why that music was so loud.
I want the receipts for some of that.
Yes. I don't know how true any of that is. She also says that you should drink a little bit of vinegar, and part of the Mediterranean diet is having like a vinaigrette on a salad beforehand because it helps
Mhm.
mitigate glucose spikes. Again, I don't know how true any of that is, but in the same way that we oxidize and we rust, yes, our
Yeah.
tissue does technically oxidize and rust. It gets like,
We rusty, we
yes.
cooked. We cooked, fam.
We cook.
Well, so glycation, I looked into this when I got my smartwatch. I got like
Mhm.
not the most recent one now, but at the time the most recent Galaxy Watch, and it has something that measures your AGES, and it's like your average glycation something something,
Mhm.
but it's your ages that like they were very clever about that and deliberate clearly because it's to do with fuck, what is it?
Like tissue aging? It's like a glucose monitor?
What is that? What is it called when you like brown something like cooking wise?
Like saute?
Yeah, but there's like a word for it. Like not caramelization.
Sear.
No.
Thank you.
There's something else.
Blacking.
Yeah.
But essentially, certain foods will cause this glycation to happen. And you
Mhm.
can measure that by like shit on your skin or like within things that your smartwatch can detect. Because I was like, is this bullshit? As soon as I got it, it was like, did you know your watch is this? And I was like, okay, sure, Pam. You know, and
Yeah.
caramelization, it might be caramelization, girl. I don't know. But the point is, it's real. And the way that I can't remember, this was like 2 Christmases ago, but they actually can measure it with your smartwatch. And you can't get like a fine grained measurement
Yeah.
of it, but it's super related to your diet. And let me tell you, in the last 2 years, mine just goes straight on up. Straight on up.
Oops.
And let me tell you about my diet being garbage for the last
Eat some
2 years.
fiber, Alicia.
I'm out of Raisin Bran, frankly. I need to
Yeah.
get some. I had Raisin Bran 2 nights ago. Last night I had protein cereal, I think. I can't remember. Anyways, I should take my Metamucil, but yeah.
Yeah, put some the Metamucil in the water.
Beans.
It's always beans, yeah.
It's always beans. Everything comes back to beans.
Yeah. I mean, it's so literally all of like the plant-based like food people that I see, they're always just like, add beans and lentils to everything. Make your pasta sauce, put some white beans and blend it up with vegetables.
Man, when I stayed with Jeff and Liz, I've experienced more peer pressure to eat lentils from that woman than I ever got peer pressure to use drugs. By a long shot. Several orders of magnitude. She's like, have you heard of lentils? Like, she's just fucking, like, full intensity, like, wide-eyed. She's like, no, for real. What you gotta do, I put lentils in everything. And I'm like,
oh, really? Okay.
Okay. I mean, I'm reading you 5x5, Steve, but I need you to take it down several notches.
Yeah.
It's too much.
What she doesn't know is she's just like gassing everybody on the metro.
Right? Yeah. She doesn't even take the metro, she bikes everywhere.
Yeah, it's fair.
But yeah, get your fiber, kids. Get your fiber. Mm-hmm. I don't have anything more that wouldn't open a giant can of beans.
Giant can of beans?
I was going to say can of worms, and then I went beans, because everything
it.
comes back to beans.
I love it. I have no more content.
Let's see if there's anything
either.
else kind of cool. Oh yeah, Lactobacillus acidophilus is a multi-strain or a probiotic. If you take the probiotic that has Lactobacillus acidophilus, KCI, and bifidobacterium.
You're gonna have to spell those for us.
Okay.
You have to type them out.
No problem. These are the ones that if you just get any probiotic, you will certainly get
Lactobacillus is like the main one. Yeah, it's true.
These are the bad boys. But it does potentially improve symptoms of depression in patients with depression. The caveat being that some of the best research on average shows that this is most efficacious in people that don't have other comorbidities, which is rare.
I was gonna say is like nobody, because
But,
depression
yeah.
and anxiety are like always comorbid.
And there are some data to support probiotic use in patients with attention deficit hyperactivity disorder, ADHD, like us. But that also was research that was combined with other like supplement supported things like increasing your magnesium and your selenium and like a whole bunch of other stuff that you just take a fucking multivitamin and like have a yogurt would be fine. Like you don't need to get these really fancy things to get benefits.
So what is the likelihood, do you think, Alicia, of seeing actual proven clinical trials for some of these either supplements or dietary changes to like essentially
They exist.
build
They exist.
well,
They're
some,
just small.
yes.
They exist. They're just small. Like there's a meta-analysis from behavioral medicine psychiatry from last year that looked at 34 randomized controlled trials looking at microbiome targeted treatments, including things like probiotics and prescriptive diets and stuff like that. And probiotics, prebiotics, and synbiotics. What the fuck that is, girl, I don't know. But that one said that there was regional differences. So it was effective in the studies that were done in Asia on average and not as effective in the Americas and Europe, which is interesting. Yeah. And I could hypothesize all day long about why that is. Again, this is a meta-analysis, and I think like the forest
Asian diets are extremely vegetable heavy. Would be my initial guess.
Well, remember, this is a clinical trial of the prescriptive, what did I say? Gut microbiome targeted treatments.
Interesting. Okay, maybe not.
Microbiome targeted treatments. So they would presumably control for that.
That's fair.
But what this kind of isolation of that brings out is we're not considering genetic factors. We're not considering the lifestyle factors that we were talking about earlier, the focus on work, the focus on family and community, all those differences that might be impacting that. And it doesn't mean that supporting your microbiome isn't useful because you're in America and on average it doesn't show that it works for neuropsychiatric, support. It might be that what we do outside of that far overwhelms any difference that we could do with our diet. So it's lost in the proverbial sauce. That would be what I would guess if I had to have this. But I do think they're coming. I think things like this are A, very trendy, B, a lot more, I guess, maybe not affordable, but it's a lot easier to tweak, say, a rat diet by giving them just high fat diet or just low fat diet or balanced diet or whatever, and see what the relative changes in various, rodent behaviors that we use as proxies for human behavior are, and then be able to go and be like, hey, you try this diet, you try this diet, to human beings that are happily electing to be in these sorts of studies. And that's a lot easier of a translational gap for us to jump across. So I think A, affordability in the current funding crisis, B, the trendiness of the gut microbiome and influencer trendiness of just these kind of just neurologically supporting diet trends and stuff, like you said, that Una woman. I think it's coming down to that.
Agreed.
It's all converging on that.
The science has to catch up with the culture, as is what's always happening these days. In other news, I learned finally what prebiotics are. I've been buying Poppies and Olippops, which are prebiotic sodas. Are those popular on the East Coast? I feel like I've never seen them.
I see them in Costco sometimes.
Okay.
But
so these are, I guess, sodas that have fiber, and I just learned what a prebiotic was today, apparently. So.
Yeah, I think it's something that supports your existing microbiome rather than inserting actual microbiota into that biome, as is the case with a probiotic, right? But that was my understanding of it.
Yeah, I agree.
I didn't verify that. But.
No, I think I completely yes, it is.
All right.
We don't know
Verified.
what we still,
Consider verified.
we still,
Boom. Verified.
we still don't know what a symbiote is, but
2 out of 2
and
scientists say that. Symbiota? Was that what it was?
that's what you said.
Yeah,
You said
something like that.
prebiota, probiota, and symbiota. You're like, I don't know what that is.
I love that. Yeah, I already forgot it, which bodes well for my mental state. Okay, I straight up don't have anything more, and we're exactly 2 hours and 10 seconds right now.
Okay.
So we can call it. If you
So
so
are
desire,
we
have our post stream?
are we just gonna end or are we gonna rate out? What's the vibe? What are you feeling?
I'm indifferent.
I have 9
I know those
viewers.
shit.
I would like it might be nice to
Let's
pass them on to
let's
somebody.
do it. Let's
Okay.
rate. Oh, yeah. Who's on?
We have
Who's on,
Astro
boys?
Canuck is on, Nerduino is
Oh.
on, Science.
We did science last week, so let's do someone different. I love Nerduino. I love who else did you say?
Astro Canuck.
Astro. Why is Astro not showing up online?
I do not know.
No. Why not show up? Oh man, it
Live
feels like things
SpaceX
just get,
launch
like,
from SoCal. Yeah, let's do that one. That
oh
one's fun.
shit, let's go. Yeah, let's do that. All right.
There's a knock to ask. Oh,
So
no.
last time we determined that whichever one of us does it brings the other one to it,
No.
right?
We both have to type it. I have to type it online in my chat.
Okay.
I can't do it in like our call chat because that's technically yours. It's your hosted.
Okay.
Okay.
All right, stick around for the raid if you've stuck around this far, please. We're going to support a Canadian astro enthusiast who is currently, I think, watching some sort of launch that's happening in California.
Oh,
which is
sorry.
very cool.
That's Nerduino. Do we want to do Astro Canuck or Nerduino?
Oh! I don't really
Let's do Astro. Astro actually knows us, so
Okay.
like, let's do it. Okay.
Yeah, so we're gonna do Astro Canuck. Wonderful person. He also dicks around with Lego and stuff like that, which is super cool if you like bricks. /raid. And then just Astro Canuck, right? Am I doing that right? I feel like I'm doing that right. Why am I getting advertised to? Hate it. All right. This has been Vulgar Science with Neuralicia.
And Layla Show. Thank you guys for being here so much. Have a
Much
wonderful.
love, everybody. See you next week.
Stick around for the raid for a bit. Bye.
Bye. What?
It turned off where you guys had finished.
Oh, did it? All right. Does it end the stream?